For more, I'm joined by the chairman of the non-government organisation, the Anti-Defamation Commission, Dr. Dvir Abramovich. Dr. Abramovich, thanks very much for your time. Since 1979, the Anti-Defamation Commission has worked to prevent, understand and counter anti-Semitism and all forms of racism. You just heard from our Immigration Minister there, David Coleman. He's one of a growing number of people that have condemned Senator Anning for attending that rally. Does that give the Jewish community some comfort?
Yes, and I appreciate the leadership that politicians across the political spectrum have shown. Look, what we saw on Saturday was hatred, pure and simple. And we live at a time when we need strong moral leadership. And Senator Anning has failed and has let down every Australian by attending this rally, which was based on prejudice and racism, by standing shoulder to shoulder with an individual who wanted Hitler as part of our educational system, but also by lending his name to a campaign and an ideology that traffics in stereotypes, in scapegoating, in incitement and in fear. This is not who we are as a nation, and we call on Senator Anning to apologize for his ugly rhetoric and words. And we would also call on him to do some soul searching, to reflect on his conduct and also to think about the kind of message that he's sending to young people about the society that we want to live in. This is simply unacceptable. He has crossed many red lines. And this is a time that we need to come out and condemn all forms of racism and all forms of intolerance.
How do you react to Senator Anning's statements on television this morning that he is a supporter of the Jewish community?
You cannot be a supporter of the Jewish community when you attend a rally that peddles this kind of toxic ideology that singles and targets a particular community. Melbourne has one of the highest number of Holocaust survivors, and as the head of an organization that was set up to fight anti-Semitism but all forms of hatred, I was appalled and shocked, as I'm sure the Holocaust survivors would be, to see people marching in the streets of St Kilda, doing the Heil Hitler salute and showcasing SS symbols. You cannot be a supporter of the Jewish community or of Israel if you lock arms with somebody who wanted Hitler in every Australian classroom and who subscribes to an ideology of incitement and of demonization.
Victoria Police has said that they are examining the footage of the rally and they are looking to see if there is anything further that they can do. What would Jewish community leaders like yourself want to see done in circumstances like this where neo-Nazi imagery and the Nazi salute are being used in rallies?
I think we have to look at this as a broader problem. We've had an explosion in hatred. We've had a surge in anti-Semitism over the last year, the largest on record. We've had, over the last 4 days, swastikas being put on a residential home care in Caulfield that houses Holocaust survivors. We've had a park defaced with a swastika. We've had private homes being, a swastika being put on a private home. We've had incitement against Jews. Anti-Semitism is back. We've got a huge problem with racism. So we call on the state and federal governments to come up with an effective action plan to deal with this cancer of intolerance and prejudice. The rally is only a symptom of a larger problem, a larger threat. You know, a day before he committed suicide in 1945, Hitler made a prediction. He predicted that it would take centuries for anti-Semitism to return. But he was wrong. Anti-Semitism and racist hate is alive and well. And we need all leaders to come out and not just denounce it. We have to move beyond words and statements. We have to come up with concrete action plans to deal with this threat and this problem.
Do you think people fully understand the use of that imagery and how offensive it is?
No, I don't think most people realize. You know, we had a poll in Europe that CNN conducted about a month ago, which said that 25% of Europeans didn't know about the Holocaust. I would suspect that there is a large number of Australians who don't understand the magnitude and the indescribable suffering that took place in the Holocaust, that 6 million Jews and 6 million others were callously murdered, exterminated in gas chambers. The swastika is the universal symbol of hatred. It is a symbol of an evil regime that wanted to eradicate every Jew on earth. And when people are using it in modern-day Australia, they have to be aware of the consequences of the kind of pain that it inflicts, not just on the memory of the victims, not just on the Holocaust survivors and their families, but also on the diggers that sacrificed their lives to defeat Hitler's demonic regime. I've argued before that the government should look at banning the public displays of the swastika and other Nazi-related items, and maybe it's time for the government to look at this issue again.
And will you and the Anti-Defamation Commission start to really speak to politicians again about banning those symbols?
Well, we have made 2019 our year of campaigning on this issue, and it's not just about the display, it's also about the sale of Nazi memorabilia. Words have consequences. We saw it when 11 Jewish worshippers were murdered in Pittsburgh of last year at a synagogue. We see it when young students at public and private schools in Australia are being vilified and harassed and victimized simply because they're Jewish. We saw it in Melbourne when a young woman at a parking spot was told that Hitler was right. So we are facing a surge in anti-Semitism. We are facing an attack on the Jewish community from all fronts, social media, but also in the physical world. And we are going to be campaigning this year and making sure that every elected representative understands the gravity of the threat that we are facing.
Just finally, do you think it is possible to have a debate, a civilised debate about immigration without racism and ugly scenes like what we saw on Saturday developing?
I think we need to have a debate on a range of issues, and immigration, of course, is one of them. But one of the things that we have lost is the civility and the ability to discuss issues respectfully and in an honourable way. By the way, the far right, the alt-right, the white supremacists are not interested in a debate. They're interested in demonizing and vilifying. They're interested in an ideology that is fixated on white identity. It's an ideology of exclusion. It's an ideology whereby they want to reject pluralism and multiculturalism. And I think they're using the idea of free speech as a gateway to try and insert themselves into the conversation and to mainstream and normalize their ugly and dangerous discourse. So we have to be very careful not to fall into this trap. Certainly we can have civilized discussion about a range of topics and debates, but we have to be careful that we don't lurch from that into hate speech, which vilifies and isolates and victimizes a particular community.
Dr. Abramovich, I do thank you very much for your time on ABC News Today.
Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.